Welcome back, lit ladies. We are excited that you guys are all here. So, before we get started, I want to give you guys a quick recap because Lupe, Tati, and I were just off camera talking about our college days, what it was like to be 21, doing the partying, from just reflecting on where we were at then to where we're at now. And Lupe dropped some amazing gems, and we just thought, hold up, wait a minute, like we got to share this with our lit crew and just make sure that everybody here gets to into this because I think it's so important for a lot of us to reflect on the journey on how far we've come, but also honor like the past versions of who we were back then to help us become who we are today. So, Lupe, do you kind of want to guide us through again, like what you were just sharing with us? Because it was just so good, amiga, that I felt like we all needed to hear a little bit about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I was just talking about, like, for a second, reflecting on my life and how far I've come. And I don't have any regrets. Like, I've lived my life the way I've wanted to. Yes, a little bit crazy. Yes, a little bit out of the norm. Yes, maybe not the most ethical way sometimes, but
Or a healthy way,
or
but
healthy, exactly, but I'm happy that I did all that and that I got to experience all that because it's brought me to this moment of, like, ready to settle down, I'm ready to be with my partner, I'm ready to take it easy. We're talking about going to sleep early, I'm ready to, like, be an early bird and, like, go to sleep on time, like, no more take being out till midnight or 1 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Like, I remember those days. I've done it, but I can really say I've checked it off, I've done it, I've experienced it, but I'm at a different point right now. And that just brought like the reflection came because I was thinking of someone who probably just graduated college, did the whole right way of getting married, having kids, and now maybe you're under 30 because I'm over 30, but you're under 30 and you have the whole family picture house thing going on. And I don't, and I'm okay with that. And I think that for a lot of us it's a great reflection to look back and just say, I've explored, I've done my life, I've checked it off, and I've enjoyed every part of it up until this very moment where now I'm just ready to, like, take it easy almost, right? And
Yeah.
it's yeah, and then Edie's you hopped in about, how sometimes doing it the right way just sometimes isn't it for us.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that too, Lupe, right? Because when you talked about that, it sparked an idea, or not an idea, but like it sparked a memory, right? Where I was like, you're right. Like it was so nice to be able to just do the things that I wanted to do before I met my partner and now that I'm
Mhm.
married. Cause like I got to really get to know myself. And like you said, yes, was it like
Yes.
the right way? No, it was not
Mhm.
the right way. Like I didn't do it right. I definitely made mistakes along the way. I definitely had some wild times with my friends, and those are the memories that I still hold on to today, where I'm like, I'm so happy that I got to do that with my
Right.
friends at the time. And thinking about it too, like if I would have done it the right way, like I was telling Lupe and Tati, would I be where I'm at today? Like, would I
Mhm.
have ever met Tati and Lupe? Would I have ever met my husband in the first place? Like, I don't think so. Like, I personally don't think so. I think it would have been a whole different route. And I think there's like a movie called The Other Way or something like that, or I forgot what it's called, but it's on Netflix where the girl gets pregnant at the, party. And then there's like, it gives you like two different options. Like she gets pregnant or doesn't get pregnant. And it shows you like how her life detours depending on which way it actually goes, and it gives you the both scenarios of what her life could have been. And yeah, maybe I'm like, maybe that could have been my life. Like if I did the right
Mhm.
thing, like, I would have had maybe X, Y, and Z by now. It would have been picture perfect. Like,
Right.
but I don't know, would it still be as fulfilling? I don't know. I really don't know. But
Mm.
it is nice to live presently to where I'm like, I get to honor that version of Edie's, that like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, hot mess Edie's, that silly Edie's.
Same.
Like, all the things, ladies. But yeah, but if it wasn't for her and the things that I did, I don't think I would be here
Mhm.
today. And
Mhm.
that would be kind of sad not meeting Tati and Lupe along the way, not creating lit with you guys, like all of
Mhm.
those things. So it puts
Yeah,
things into perspective.
and I would even argue that we did do it right, right?
Ooh, what?
Because
Okay.
I
Tell us
almost
more.
feel like in your 20s, you're supposed to not know what you're doing, and you're supposed to go
Mm.
out and party if you want to and be wild if you want to. Like, I feel like your
Yeah.
20s are the perfect years to do all of that and be messy and make all
Mm.
the quote unquote wrong decisions because I feel like those are the years where it's just, like, the perfect opportunity to figure out, like, who you are and what works for you and what
Yeah.
doesn't work for you. So, I know that we're saying, like, we didn't do it the right way, but I would argue that we did do it the right way because I
I
was the
think you're
same as
right.
both of you. I partied, I drank way too much, I
Oh,
made all of these decisions that weren't the healthiest or didn't support my best self, but it almost and actually me and Marcin were talking about it the other day too, of like, we had to get it out of our system almost,
Mhm.
ooh,
right? Like,
that's
we
yeah,
had to, like, party and do all of these crazy things to get it out of our system, and, like,
yeah.
now we're in our 30s, and again, I go to bed at 10 PM, and I wanna stay in. I don't wanna go out and party. I don't wanna do anything crazy, you know what I mean? I feel like I wonder if maybe during my 20s, if I didn't do all those things, if maybe in my 30s or 40s, I would be like, "Oh, now I want to, like, pick up this
Mhm.
crazy idea." Like, you know how, like, people have, like,
Mhm.
midlife crisis? Like, I
Yeah.
Mhm.
almost feel like midlife crises happen, and I don't know, but I almost feel like they happen because people have those regrets or feel like they didn't get something out of their system. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
That is
Yeah.
good, and that's a good perspective, right? That we did do it right, and I can feel this person, and I know that I've gone through this myself where I've thought about it. You're so right, Tati, like, we did do it right, but I could also see someone else being on the other side being like, "But nah, like, you guys should have been more disciplined," or like, if you wanted the financial success, because we get caught up in the noise now, right? With,
Mhm. Mhm.
healing, transformation, and all these things being so big, and I had a chat too with some amazing girls that I just met yesterday at a coffee shop with another friend. And a lot of them were reflecting on that, where they were like, and these are successful women, by the way. I want you to know this. Like, these are women with careers, like Latinas who are doing great things. And one of them wasn't Latina, but she's doing amazing things as well. And they were all saying, like, I wish I would have known X because then I would have avoided certain things. Or maybe I should have focused more on my financial like literacy. So that way I could have had wealth by now. And they were just beating themselves up so much, and that's what got me thinking. So when Lupe brought up this conversation, I was like, wait, hold up. How can we not judge ourselves so harshly, I guess, when it comes to that? Because the world right now is telling us, especially for us, you guys, like first gens, trying to break the generational cycles, doing all these things, like we feel the load on us. As you're saying that right now, Tati, like I felt like, fresh air come through where I'm like, okay, I feel relaxed. I don't feel like I have to be so like hard on that version of who I was because we don't have to be. It also reminded me like of you don't know what you don't know. And
Mhm.
it is true, like, why not use your 20s to explore? Maybe for some of us, it won't be like getting drunk and doing all the crazy wild things, but give yourself the time to explore in your 20s to like get to know who you are. I think that's so important because there are many adults that go in their 30s, 40s, 50s not
Mhm.
knowing who they are, or they're
Mhm.
curious and they're like, "Oh, I wish I could have done that. Like I never did that." And it makes me think about like my mom. Like my mom never got to do like half of the things that I got to
Mhm.
do. So like she'll ask questions and stuff to see like and kind of maybe live through me a little bit. But I think about that too where I'm like, dang,
Mhm.
that sucks that they couldn't experience certain things and
Mhm.
we got to do that. And it gives a different lens and perspective of instead of being so shameful and guilty and, judgmental towards our past selves and regret not doing certain things right. You're right. Like I think it is
Mhm.
good to remind ourselves too, like, but we got to explore, like we got to do
Mhm.
the thing and not
Mhm.
be so hard. I think that's like the
Mhm.
biggest thing I could say. Cause yeah, I could see someone being like, nah, like you guys should have done it right. Or like the way you guys did it was wrong. And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know if it was wrong, but
Yeah.
I don't think so. You're right. I don't think it is wrong. Is there
Yeah.
really a
It's
right or
not.
wrong
There
though?
is no right or wrong. I think
No.
that's the thing, right? I feel like our idea of what's right or wrong, like who made up those rules? Like I don't know who made up those rules. Like I get to be the person who makes up the rules for my life, right? And I like the saying
Yeah.
of like shoulda, coulda,
Ooh.
woulda, right? Like
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
should have done this,
Mhm.
could have done that. You know what I mean? Like I guess we can just live in the present moment, right? And I
Mhm.
love how
Yeah.
you said, Edie's, you don't know what you don't know because of course, if I would have known something in my 20s, if I would have really thought about
Yeah.
my future in my 30s, and like realistically, the average 20-year-old doesn't really have the capacity because when we think about it, our brains aren't fully developed until we're age
That's
26,
true.
right? And so, like,
Mm,
the average 20-year-old isn't thinking about what their life is going to look like in their 30s and taking actionable steps to live
Mm,
their ideal life in their 30s, if that makes sense.
yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like if we can just live in the present moment, right? I think that we don't have those regrets as much because
mhm,
again, we're not thinking about the past of like what we could have done or should have done, right? We're
Yeah.
just being like, all right, well, I didn't know that when I was in my 20s,
mhm,
but now I do know
mhm,
that. And how can I
mhm.
use that information now to take
That's
steps forward?
That's a good one too. You
Yeah.
reminded me of what there's like that experiment, right, where a bunch of older people were interviewed about like what they most regretted in life. And it wasn't about like how much money they made or anything like that. It was literally like the little things of like, oh, I wish I could
Mhm,
have done this, like, and prioritized myself more, been with my family more, or experienced that trip, sooner. Little things like that. I don't know, it got me thinking about that right now as you mentioned that. And I think that's so true. I hope that our listeners that are listening in, like, I want you to take a step back. And I understand like there's so much things that are going on in the world where a lot of like layoffs, all these like scary things, right? But like take a moment to really think about your overall life as like a movie. And if like you're that
mhm,
old viejita that's on the side with like seeing her whole life. I don't know. I hope you get to do the things that you don't
mhm,
go to, when that time comes, that you don't regret not doing it. Like, I hope you
mhm,
get to experience all the things that you want to experience or to give yourself and to give to your family because life is short. I don't know.
mhm.
Like, it
Life is
makes
Mhm,
so short.
life is so short. And even though we have time, because I do believe we have time, maybe I only say this because my baby sister's birthday was just recently. My birthday's coming up in the next, couple of weeks. And it got me thinking how quickly life happens. Cause like, I was reflecting on Hemas's life. Shout out to my baby sister. She's listening to this. But I remember when she was a baby and I got to see her be
mhm,
born and who she's becoming now and the things that she does. And although, she's exploring, getting to know herself, I think it's a beautiful thing. Like, are there things obviously that I'm like, dude, watch out for this? Of course, but it's cool to see too, like how her life is gonna unfold instead of
mhm,
me always giving her the answers on how she should live. Cause that's not fun either. Like she's her
mhm,
own person and she should experience what she wants to experience in her lifetime and see what kind of wisdom she grows out of that too. Because you're right, Tati. Like when I was her age, if someone would have told me the things that I know now, would I really listen? I don't know. I don't think I would
I
have.
wouldn't. I wouldn't.
I
Me neither.
don't think I would have. I would have
My
been
mom
like, yeah, I'm gonna
tried.
do my thing. I'm
Yeah,
gonna do whatever I
right.
want.
Yeah.
Mhm,
So I think it goes back to like that capacity piece that you were mentioning earlier. Like I think at a certain point when you are ready to receive the information that you're wanting to learn about or implement, you're going to do it more willingly versus like if we shoved all of this knowledge down your throat in your 20s. And I don't know, man, like it puts things into perspective because now that I'm
mhm,
33, right, comparing and the age gap between me and my baby sister, it's like, man, like life is too short. Like life goes by so fast. And like, what
yeah.
other things do I want to do in my life? But then looking back at that younger version of me, like, I'm glad I got things out of my system, like you
Mhm,
said, Tati, because
mhm.
I knew what it was like to go clubbing and to see all these young people out and about and me laughing inside being like, dude, I remember when I was your guys' age and I did all that stuff too. And it
Right.
brings me a lot of joy, actually.
Mhm,
Or like,
Yeah.
mhm,
even just looking at pictures and memories of like me and my
mhm.
friends when we used to go out, like I still have those. And I'm so grateful I got to do all that.
Yeah.
And it's built lifelong
Mhm,
relationships and friendships with
mhm.
people. So
Definitely.
no regrets. No regrets. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
You
I
know
think
that
it's
movie?
yeah.
Sorry. I
No,
just
no,
thought
go.
you
What
you
movie?
said no regrets, and I think, like, no rugrats. Do you know that
Yeah,
movie?
that's
What is the movie
dang,
called?
I don't remember the movie. It wasn't The
Something
Hangover.
Family.
Was it? No, it wasn't The Hangover.
The
Which
family who went to Mexico to they were
Oh,
selling drugs.
with Jennifer Aniston,
Yes,
right?
what was it called?
Yes. I don't remember, but
Wait,
I
it
yes,
sounds familiar.
we'll get back
Wait,
to
it
that.
is I think it is Family
Is
Trip,
it
no?
Family Trip?
No, I don't think it's Family
I don't
Trip.
know. I'm gonna
I don't
Google
know,
it
but
now
that's
because
what I thought of when you said no regrets, no rugrats.
yes.
Okay, sorry. Okay, Lupe.
Yes, no Rugrats running around. Honestly, that was always the thing with me. My grandmother may she rest in peace. She just made 2 years of passing, but
Yeah.
she would always, every time she came to my house, every time she came to visit, it was like, "When are you getting married? When are you getting married?" And it was just like, 1, it wasn't in my cards. I never thought I'd wanna get married. And 2, I always just wanted to, like, break the rules. I'm the rule breaker. So I was like, "How much more time do I have to be just have fun and be myself and explore and party it up, be home late, still pay my bills, still have a good job, still like work up the ladder in corporate,
Yeah.
and then travel the world, got to see places that my family has never been to, and just check those boxes off." And I think at the end of the day, you're right that they're still doing this right. Like there's no right or wrong because at the end of the day,
Mhm.
we're still breaking those generational like cycles. And
Yeah.
for me,
Ooh.
it was like, I'm not going to get married and have kids and have this house. Like, no, I'm gonna just live my life. And I'm glad I did because going down like that memory lane, and I encourage all of our listeners and viewers, a lot of us, we get caught up in, don't think about the past. The past is in the past. Think about the
Mhm.
good stuff in the past. And when we reflect and look at those pictures, look at those videos, laugh and remember and think about
Yeah.
those good times. And honestly, for me, I was never a big reflector on like the good stuff. It was always the bad stuff. And when I slowly started incorporating like the reflection of the good things that I've done, the fun times I've had, it got me to a point of where I was appreciative. I was like, oh my God, I did that. Or, oh my God, I forgot I went there. Or, oh my God, I forgot we did this together. And it just
Mhm.
brings you these memories of like, wow, actually, I have done a lot. Actually, I am a good person. Actually, I had such a great time.
I
And
love
so
that.
I encourage everyone to do that for themselves because although we break the norm, although we change things up, like never forget the type of person you were still cultivating deep down, like throughout these years. And it's gotten you to this point, right? So for
That's
me, that's what
right.
today has been. I don't know why I woke up so reflective, but I'm
Aw.
like, I'm so
It's the
happy.
full moon, Lupe. It's
That's
the full
true.
Yeah.
moon too. It's the full moon
Mercury is in
energy.
retrograde.
Yeah, and that
Absolutely.
too. Before I go into that, Lupe, the movie is We Are the Millers. I just wanted
We
to
are the
point that out. We Are the
Millers.
Millers. I was like, that's
Yes.
what it was.
Yes.
We are the
Yes.
Millers. Oh my gosh, no
Like,
regrets. Like,
no
seriously.
regrets.
Oh my gosh,
That's
that
what
is
we need.
Okay.
hilarious.
But you're right though, Lupe. Like going back to what you said that so beautifully. And I feel like you're right. We should all take those moments to look back at that version of us and like laugh and reconnect with that feeling of like the pure joy that those moments brought us in that moment and that it was cultivating who we are today. Like when you said that, I was
Mhm.
like, you're right.
Mhm.
It was
Yeah.
cultivating us. And sometimes we forget too that even within that, we were breaking generational cycles. Cause yeah, maybe you're not the first millionaire yet, right? Or maybe you haven't gotten married yet, and all these things haven't happened yet. But like you said, Lupe, when you were reflecting on your journey, like we were the first though to graduate from college. We were the first to travel to places that our families have never gone to. We were the first in our families to make at least decent money
Mhm.
and to be able to enjoy our life and party and give
Mhm.
ourselves these opportunities. Like that's still breaking generational cycles in some way. And we were learning about ourselves more deeply. And when you said that, I thought about that and I'm like, wait a minute, you're right. Like, my family didn't get to go to all these beautiful places that I got to go to with my friends and got to like travel with them and witness myself. And yeah, I got a big girl job that I was getting paid decent money and living in the Bay and had my own apartment at some point. My mom never got to do that. Like, how cool is it that we got to do that for ourselves? And
Mhm.
obviously, thanks to our parents for bringing us here,
Mhm.
right? And like that we were given these opportunities to some form and capacity. But yeah, even within that, we're breaking the cycles in so many ways.
Mhm.
And I don't think we give ourselves enough credit. So
Mhm.
I thought you highlighted something so important because that even brought a light bulb moment to me where I was
Mhm.
like, yeah, I wasn't thinking that because I guess along the way I found that that was normalized, like we're
Mm.
expected to do things like that, but not really though. Like
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
I thought
that's
that
how
was
I would
good.
get caught up in things like, "Oh, but this is normal." And I said this to you ladies like a few days ago where I was like, I became a person that was like, "Oh, but anyone can do that." Or like, "That's
Yeah.
normal." Or like, "Everyone graduates, like that's fine." Instead of celebrating those small milestones because why not? Like, we are genuinely the first time graduating from X, Y, and Z. We're also the first time making time to get to know ourselves. And
Mm.
that in return is also bringing us to a place where we want to be and not where we feel like we have to be.
Mhm,
Mm,
1000%. Oh my gosh, and I can relate to that too. I feel like going to school, going to grad school was just normal, and it wasn't, like, made to be a big deal because that's what I was expected to do. Like, you're expected to
mhm.
go to college, you're expected to go to grad school, like, "Oh, you have a master's? Okay," like, that's what you're expected to do. So it wasn't, like,
Yeah.
anything that, "Oh my gosh, such a big deal," because it was like, "Okay, I'm just, like, checking off the boxes, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do," but what you were saying, Edie's, like, going back to, like, having fun and going out, right? Like,
Yeah.
that is also part of breaking generational cycles. Because I know my parents definitely did not have fun and could not,
Mm-mm.
like, go out and party
Right.
whenever they wanted, like,
Yeah.
that was just not a thing, and so I feel like taking these little moments, taking whatever you're experiencing and maybe, like, you're not out partying like Edie said, right? Or you're not, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever it is, however you're living your life right now, just remembering to kind of soak it in and be in those moments because
Mm,
I think the more that we're present with those moments, the more
mhm,
we can celebrate and honor those moments, right? Like, the
mhm,
more that we can
Yeah.
just, like, just be fully with them. Does that make sense?
mhm.
Am I
Oh,
explaining that?
It
100%.
Yeah.
does.
Yeah, it
It
does.
does. Another example that happened also this morning. I'm telling you, I don't know what I guess full moon, but I'm like staring at my fiance and he's like, "What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that?" I'm like, "I'm just like flashing all of the memories we've created the last 4 years." And I was just, and who does
Oh.
that? Like nobody takes the time. Actually, I know who does. Our iPhone does that. And the other day it did like a little it did a little, like, a recap of photos
Yeah.
of him and I, and it literally, I think, took us through our all 4 years, and I was like, "Oh my," again,
Aw.
it goes back to, like, the same thing of, like, "Oh my god, I forgot we did that. I forgot we went through that, or I forgot that we experienced that," and it just makes it so much more heartwarming and full to know and acknowledge and look
Yeah.
back and say, oh my God, we've lived this journey X, Y, and Z, and it's just a beautiful way. And now that we're into this phase of engagement, everyone's like, when are you getting married? When are you getting married? I'm like, I don't know and I don't care. And I'm not at this moment because I'm just enjoying the journey. And it's so funny because everyone and even you
Yeah.
ladies kept telling me that, but I didn't understand it until now. Because now I'm acknowledging all of our dating moments. And now
Yeah.
I want us to acknowledge and celebrate the engagement part and like the journey leading up to the marriage part, right? And so
Yeah.
I think even small things like that deserve celebrations, deserve time and moments to just reflect and just look at, be happy and acknowledge
Yes.
what brings you joy because that's so important. Once you feed off that, you're like, "Oh, this is what's going to bring me joy next time." And
Yes.
mhm.
Yes.
You
No,
know
go
what's
ahead,
so
Lupe. Yes, I'm
No, that
sorry.
was
I got
it.
excited because
That
I
was
was
it.
like,
That
yes.
was
I
it.
was like, that's exactly it. Because I was just thinking that. And I felt like that's how we get to keep enjoying the journey is by being able to reflect on all of those beautiful things that we've experienced. And it keeps us going, most
Mhm.
importantly. It doesn't keep us stuck in this loop of like, I should have done better. And like, oh my gosh, like, why didn't younger me know? It just gets harder to move forward or to appreciate the things, like you said, around us. But the moment that we take those moments, no matter how small they may seem, but like giving ourselves the opportunity to have the flashbacks, to look at the memories, to do all that, like it literally keeps you going. And I think that is
Mhm.
the most important thing. Keep going in your journey, keep appreciating your journey,
Mhm.
keep creating those memories. So that way, you know, your future self, when it looks back in this current moment, it goes, wow, like we did so many great things and we've done amazing things too in the past. Like, I can't wait to make more memories in the future. Like, it just keeps the journey going. So, when you're again back to that 80-year-old self, when you're watching your whole entire life's movie, like, you're gonna feel so happy.
Mhm.
That's my
Mhm.
biggest desire for everybody. I keep
Mhm.
bringing that up. I feel
Yes.
like that's my thing, but like I don't want any of us to ever regret the lives that we have created for ourselves because like you said, Lupe, like it's helping us shape the woman that we need to be. And most importantly, we are breaking the cycles in so many different ways and it's about giving ourselves more acknowledgement but enjoying the memories, like enjoying those
Mhm.
moments more and more.
and it's going to look different for everyone, right? And just
Yes.
1,000.
remembering
Mhm.
to not compare your life to your friend or your family member, whoever the us, don't compare
Yes.
yourself to us, don't compare yourself
Yeah.
to people who you see online. Like your journey is unique and it's going to look different for each person. It's so funny because like I am literally in the process of creating this photo book online, and I have one that I created online for, like, our wedding book, but, I'm creating one with, like, all of our pictures with me and Marcin from, like, when we first the very first day we met until, like, now, and it's so funny because I was looking at those memories, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I did forget that I did that. Oh my gosh, we had
Right.
so much fun,"
Yep.
right? And, something that we were talking about off camera too was, we're talking about how like we are so grateful that like we lived our lives before like we got into like serious relationships. And
Yes.
I also just like want to offer like this different perspective too of like if you are in a relationship, you're also allowed to live your life to the fullest, and remembering that just because you're in a relationship doesn't mean that your life stops, and you get to be two people who come together. And me and Marcin have been together for 14 years, and so I remember being able to like be independent and like do my own thing and still like have a voice and know like I'm going to do XYZ no matter what, and it doesn't
Yeah.
matter that I'm in a relationship. If the person really loves me, they're going to be okay with my decisions, and same with him, right? And so like we both were able to kind of like reach our own individual goals while still being in a relationship. And I think so often we think that like if you're in a relationship we can't do those things. So just kind of like as a
Mhm.
reminder, if you are in a relationship or you're not in a relationship, just kind of remembering like you're an individual who gets to do
Mhm.
your life however you want to do it.
I
I
think
love
that's so
that.
good. And
Mhm.
guess what, ladies? We're gonna make that into an episode because we have to deep dive about that.
Yes.
Like, we have to go about that because I think
Yeah.
that's another important perspective too. Because there are a lot of amigas out there that have found their partners since like day one from high school or college, sweethearts, right? And that they've been able to do all of those amazing things together. But like you said, Tati, that's like a key point is that you were able to evolve and grow with this person who allowed
Mhm.
you to be fully yourself. And I think that's also such a beautiful experience to go through and for us even to witness, right? Like even though we didn't get to see like you guys baby Tati and like Marcin back in the day, right? But seeing you guys on who you guys are now, like it just shows a lot, like
Mhm.
on how much you guys have grown.
Mhm.
And it makes me think about my friends too, because I have my friends who have been high school sweethearts, they're married and now have a baby. And we got to do all the stuff together. Okay. Like we partied, studied for finals, everything. And
Mhm.
they have grown just as much. And I feel like they would totally agree with you where they feel like they've come together and done so many amazing things that they don't regret. And if anything, they just laugh because they're like, dude, can you imagine our baby doing all the things that we did? Like, how are we gonna go about this? But it's funny to see the growth and how that even brings you guys closer. I think that's the beautiful part. And
Mhm.
everyone's journey is gonna be different, like you said.
Yes, a
Yeah.
thousand
I think
percent.
it's nice to recognize that.
And
Yeah.
just
Oh
the
my
last tidbit, because
yeah.
you mentioned the comparison part,
Yeah.
and when we take the time to reflect and acknowledge what we've completed and we've done and what we've experienced and bring the joy out of that, that leaves no room for you to compare yourself to anyone else because you're so excited for what you've created, what you've done, that you
Mhm.
can't wait for what more you can do. So therefore, it leaves no room for comparison. And that's why I think the importance of like reflecting
Yes.
as well.
1000%. Oh my gosh,
Mhm.
I love that.
Yeah. Oh
I
my
think that
gosh,
should be another
ladies.
episode too.
Yeah, no, it should. Oh my gosh, we're just rolling all with these ideas. I
Tell us,
like it.
tell
I
us.
like it.
Hopefully our listeners tell us what you want us to deep
Yes,
dive
drop a
more
comment.
in.
Yes. Drop a
Yes.
comment. Yes, you guys. Let us know what you guys want to hear. Because if any of this
Mhm.
resonated, like please let us know in the comments below,
Mhm.
whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify. Oh my gosh, I can't speak today. I don't know what it is,
Mercury in
but
retrograde.
it is. I'm like, what is happening? I'm just too excited. I think that's what it is too. But let us know what you guys want to hear. Because again, ladies, like we're here to help you transform in your unique journey.
Mhm.
Again, it is not to become anybody else, but to like own
Mhm.
your journey and love your journey and just keep trusting that you are exactly where you're at, because
Mhm.
you're being cultivated and brewed, and you're going to become amazing things. But just keep trusting that your time for whatever your heart is desiring is coming, and just honor your past self and all the memories that you've created till now. So I love how you guys created a lot of these like cool tools, like without you guys knowing, like Tati, like the photo book, and then like Lupe with the Google Photos too. Like I think it's so good
Mm.
for us to even use things like that. So I hope, ladies, like you guys got to, hone in on those little cool tools that you can use today to kind of just reflect on your journey. And again, like just keep honoring it. I feel like that's the biggest thing that keeps coming up for me. But is there any last words, ladies, before we head out?
Remember to stay lit.
Oh, okay. Yes, remember to stay
Yes.
lit. Yes, I love it.
Yes.
All right, ladies. Well, again, let us know what you need to hear from us. We got you, and we'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining us today on LIP Podcast. We hope this conversation has ignited a spark within you so that you keep embracing your journey.
Remember, transformation takes time, but every step brings you closer to the life you're meant to live. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, share, and leave a review.
Let's continue this journey together. Until next time, stay lit and keep transforming.